policy to move migrants into sites. I am a minister and I am not critical of my government. I said to the Home Office I don't believe it's a proper site. Privately in June 22, when I spoke to Kevin Foster, I'm trying to take a sensible view. It's my government that's made the decision. I don't think it's right. I've made representations. I think the only way to get the most out of the situation, as I cannot stop the proposal from occurring, is to work on the basis I get best by negotiating with others, pretty well keep my nose clean. Rother District Council and the County Council may take legal action, but as a front bencher and a member of the government, I can't support that. It seems to me that when you get to the front bench, you actually disassociate yourself from all the people that you represent, and you become a person who probably is a yes minister rather than anything else. Anyway, he said that he could not, on the front bench, represent you to the government.
But he remembers that on election day. Yeah.
Well, you've got that choice coming at some point. It says at the bottom, and this is not my words, he could always, of course, resign as a minister and support his constituents. And I think that's quite right. I know, I see there are a couple of posters around here which call him to court. So that was the first thing. Because the wind is high, I put them in an envelope. 1 second, please. Yes, please. That for me. Graham Castleton speaks for the residents. He's been extremely active, and I congratulate him for what he's done. He wrote to my wife Jackie recently and said, I think the view from the council and our MP seems to point at looking at what happens tomorrow with Braintree in court. That will provide our bellwether on the next steps. 6 o'clock news didn't say anything about the outcome, but I understand from others here that the decision has been put off until Friday. He says, I'm not overly happy with that approach and have made it very clear to Malcolm Johnson, that's Paul rather, that sitting and waiting for someone else to solve our problem is not a good idea, but it might be a single voice with him currently, and I don't think he feels direct pressure that maybe Hugh Merriman is feeling with the number of emails being sent to him. We know our only route to court is through either East Sussex County Council or Rother District Council, and I have received a reply from the environmental leader, and he quite clearly states that the government is deciding on all planning. So even if toxology finds something substantial, the government can plan and decide how to deal with this without anyone in our council being aware of it. That is unfortunate. I understand from somebody else, and I can't tell you its veracity, that the toxicology has been organised with 77 boreholes in and around the site. Only 2 of those apparently show any signs of toxic substance. Whether that's asbestos or not, I don't know. But that's the update as far as that's concerned. He has made a small committee of the residents, and 12 people on the estate are now signed up to a committee which can be utilised in this process. Can I give you that one as well, please?
Got a lot of paperwork, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, it's not all in my head. This letter is from a gentleman who is a very senior gentleman and was a senior civil servant in the 90s. And he writes very sensibly and has a lot of lot of experience in these matters. Thank you for your helpful email below about the current and potential court routes for countering the government's migrant camps proposals. However, as one of nature's eternal optimists, I was alarmed at your observation that the mood of inevitability about Northeye may now be spreading across those most concerned. Although I have little knowledge about how your immediate circle of advisors has so far built their case against the Northeye project, and I completely lack the legal expertise I've seen that have been deployed in email exchanges, I certainly would like to lay out the situation as I see it. That means drawing on many years spent advising ministers about difficult issues, followed by much time analysing the main factors which underpin strategies to strengthen local economies and reduce social disadvantage. I've also had much a contact with Hugh Merriman on economic challenges and the rail services in our area.
We can't hear a word you're saying.
Well, I'm afraid it points that way, so if you'd like to come that side, it might be easier.
Okay, everybody over that side. Yeah, but we're not.
So,
You ought to have more speakers.
is that better? Can you hear me now? A little more power. Here we go. There we are. So here are my observations, and my apologies in advance if these points are already fully familiar to you. Migrant camps issue is one part of a very large political challenge where the government's whole credibility is at risk. Of course it is. The government is already struggling to meet several of the 5 high-profile pledges, which include stopping the boats, recently announced by the Prime Minister. Legislation is currently before Parliament, which would provide powers to summarily deport anybody arriving here illegally. But a group of about 60 Conservative MPs are demanding the text should be further strengthened to ensure that the European Court for Human Rights will not be able to veto such actions, as it did last year. So the progress and the final format of this critical bill cannot yet be assured. In the meantime, the flow of illegal immigrants will continue, and the government's embarrassments will grow. Similarly, on migrant camps issue, the government is inserting an additional measure into their levelling up legislation to provide override powers in respect of all local rights regarding the use of sites designated as future migrant camps. And this is the new system. In the complete absence of any help from our own MP, we can only hope that sufficient other Conservative MPs are willing to withhold their support from such a draconian proposal. All opposition parties have publicly expressed their outrage, so we need to recognise that although the government itself appears determined to ram through the camp's proposal, it is possible that Parliament as a whole, and remember that both houses consider legislative proposals in detail, and they will simply not permit these powers in their current projected form. And understanding the various arguments, your email voiced reservations about our Northeye campaign relying on arguments being put forward by campaigning groups elsewhere. I would certainly agree with you, unless the High Court hearing of the Braintree Clout injunction leads to a blanket pronouncement applicable to all proposed sites, we must certainly be ready with a Northeye specific case to use whatever legal, political and public opinion situations might work. So what he's saying is that we need to be ready, not just sit on the back of Braintree. We need to be ready to go forward. I do not know what points are being made by Braintree Council in support of their injunction application, but I have explored the websites of each local campaign. This suggests that each has its own need. Here again, having not been closely engaged with the work your colleagues have done so far, I may be making proposals which are already at the heart of your strategy, so I'm pleased to hear of what you are doing. Despite much local effort and help from public resources, Bexhill still has a fragile economy. The government has recognised this by recently allocating significant levelling up sums for new regeneration projects. And indeed, 19 million pounds has been given to Bexhill for regeneration of the Dilawar Pavilion. But that can't be suddenly used for this campaign because it is for the Dilawar Pavilion only, and should it be fired elsewhere, then it will just be withdrawn. These would strengthen the town's external reputation and make Bexhill a more attractive location for the ambitious organisations and individuals vital for boosting local economic performance. It is important that, you know, that this is going to make a huge difference to what happens here in Bexhill. And do you know the Park Lane project, which is very close by? I hear today they have withdrawn their planning permission request, and that shows you what is already happening around the Bexhill because of the impending problem. I have heard that the proposal of 1,200 migrants at Northeye would be about 3 times the number housed in the former prison. If true, that ought to rule Northeye out completely. Overcrowding in prisons has always been a key cause of discontent, and we have no wish to see Northeye generating a spirit of claustrophobic resentment spilling out along Barnhorn Road, which that affects me, towards Little Common and the town centre. The 2 RAF stations now under consideration are in by their nature much larger sites which can offer a more relaxed environment, and they are not next door to a significant town. The government must be aware that illegal immigration is expected to rise exponentially as summer weather provides opportunities to cross the channel before tighter restrictions are applied. Siting the initial migrant camps on larger ground areas would provide opportunities to increase inmate numbers efficiently over time. The social consequences of Northeye, these are strongly linked with the reason why Northeye would be a blow for Bexhill's economic reputation and ambitions for improvement. Bexhill society is without in any way being patronising or detrimental, a work in progress which is inevitably finely balanced at the present time. The underlying economy has changed enormously since World War II, when the town hosted a big array of well-regarded boarding schools. Bexhill is now a home to large numbers of retired people, which has given rise to a caring economy with all the pressures and changes regularly highlighted in Parliament and the media. Many younger people have expectations of better jobs coming from each generation, and some of these would certainly leave the town for better prospects if elsewhere, if economic opportunities are seen to fall back through a Northeye reputation. Northeye sits right next door to an established and proud community of families. The road from Northeye to Bexhill is lined by 5 distinctive care homes where very vulnerable people will eventually feel unnerved by the arrival of a completely different community just along the road. In short, the social consequences for Bexhill of the Northeye project are massively more significant than would be the case for migrant camps established in a more isolated locations. I am generally thrown over by the attitude Hugh Merriman has taken on this issue. I've got to know him very well since 2015, and we've always found common ground on the transport and economic issues where our paths have crossed. For example, in 2018, his port was a super asset when my local rail user group successfully negotiated a new timetable which for the first time provided Coombe Beach and Collington with direct access to Ashford International. As a result, I know that many people have moved west to West Bexhill, and this better connectivity was certainly a key factor behind the current investment in Coombe Beach Hotel. So he goes on, and I don't need to read you any more of that, but he clearly says that from his position of great experience, that there is a concern. I have taken a more local aspect, and I write on Sunday, "Dear Hugh, thank you for the update following your meeting with the Home Office. I have a number of issues to put before you. It is reassuring to learn that the young men that are to be sent to Bexhill are and and in parentheses, only those that have an application in the asylum seeking system. Close parentheses. We learn from the press that the majority of asylum seekers have no papers with them to justify and support their asylum request, so that simply having an application being processed is no reassurance at all. On another issue, this week a person known to me who lives next to a public access path has had his ornamental pond trashed by the local Bexhill ewes. The carp was stamped on and the duck house thrown into the pond, and much damage caused to his garden. It is a shame that Bexhill has such a roof problem, but there is a potential here that this will be a tinderbox to be faced by young male asylum seekers, which will have a very unfortunate outcome. The issue in all of this is not about the need for asylum, but the insult of 1,200 young men arriving in Bexhill. On a personal note, the notification of the proposed Home Office action has reduced the cost of my house by £100,000. How can I, and similarly the residents of Northeye, be recompensed for such an action? Northeye Prison is also, this site is within the boundaries of the Pevensey Levels, a nationally renowned environmental treasure, an SSS site, that's a site of specialist scientific interest, and a Ramsar site. The Ramsar site is internationally recognised. The value and importance of sites such as this has markedly increased in public opinion since the prison days. I am not speaking without local knowledge, as 11 great crested newts were discovered this week at the prison site. These creatures are protected by law and will not be able to manage to survive under 1,200 pairs of feet. We must recognise the fragility of all our local wildlife, that is slowworms, bats, badgers, hedgehogs, dragonflies, as well as crested newts. The other issue is the asbestos poisoning, and I've really covered that by saying that as far as we can see, there isn't very much to find. I've not touched on the mental upset and anxiety that this has caused. It's not my field. But if it should be measured by local anxiety, then the reaction is severe. I learned that being part of the prison complex, the residences are serviced by the prison, and I didn't know this. There is no gas supply, so oil heating is provided for all of them from the prison. Similarly, electricity is supplied from the prison. It is old, not well maintained, and intermittent. Fresh water is supplied by the prison. And sewage is disposed of via the prison. The sewage is then pumped up to the Little Common main drainage system for disposal. Since the addition of the Rosewood site to the system, it has become overloaded, and recently, after heavy rain, the sewage system overflowed into the gardens on the south side of Barnhall Road. What a disgrace, eh? Add sewage from another 1,200 asylum seekers and the necessary staff, and disaster is on the map. Are all the residents of Northeye to be moved and housed elsewhere while this huge problem is resolved? I am sure you will have considered the damage it will do to the face of Bexhill and the holiday market, the loss of trade, the gradual failure of the shops of the town centre. I am not being alarmist, but the shops are presently suffering from the simple measure of the placement of parking meters throughout the centre of the town. Some shops have been forced to close. And the thing that's not been mentioned, there is a primary school in Little Common. It has a lot of people. We don't need 1,200 young men between the ages of 18 and 30 walking around the school.
That practically doubles the population of Bexhill's young men.
Yeah, it does. Well, Little Common has a population of 4,500, so you're on the right road there. So I said to him, "Dear Hugh, you understand the situation. It is not the question of sensible and necessary preparation of the site, nor the need for the asylum, but it is the unrestrained release of 1,200 young men of unconfirmed background into the community of a small town. How can a site that only contained 450 prisoners in the past now accommodate 1,200 men? I believe your further help in resolving this disaster is absolutely essential and would implore you to do your utmost for us in this. So that's my letter to him this weekend. More bits of paper. And this last thing is from a local solicitor who seems very well clued on all sorts of things. Hello all, it seems from the Save the Northeye site that Suella Breverman is to declare the small boats and immigration crisis a natural emergency tomorrow. This would mean she could invoke the planning notice queue to avoid public consultation. It is interesting to note that tomorrow is also the day of the injunction hearing due to be heard at Braintree. I have looked at the legislation and an emergency can be classed if human welfare is affected, and this can include homelessness. As someone has already pointed out, this cannot be valid as they are already being housed in hotels. Hopefully the court will agree with the application and discount the fact this is an emergency. It must however be the case that if Rother need to pursue their application, they need to do so as quickly as possible. Well, I need to throw it over, but I'd like Brian to have a few words first.
Okay, can you hear me all right? Yeah. That's better. About 3 weeks ago, when this all came about, I went down to this Northeye site, met Lisa, who actually lives just close by to the old prison, and I got involved in this, not aggressively or any political angle. I don't want anything to do in it, but what I want to try and do is, if I can, is stop this from happening for people that are here today. Because what this is, and I'm not creating aggravation, I'm not kicking, screaming or shouting, but I've got to be firm with this, because if you're not firm with it, they're going to walk all over us. They're going to be bullying this on to us here, and everything that everyone here holds dear to them, our lives will change here forever. And I'm glad that there's so many people come down here today, because this is so serious. I just can't tell you. I've seen 85-year-old women come to me in a dressing gown with a mum and a pair of slippers and a hot water bottle, saying to me, "Can you fix this problem for me?" I said, "I'll try." She just lost her husband last month. I can't walk away from someone like that. I won't walk away from you. I don't want to be a councillor. I don't want to be a politician. I want to get this dealt with. Me, with you. But people have said, you know, thank you. But what it is, I went down with Lisa when they had the first meeting at the prison a couple of weeks back, and a lot of people did a lot of talking, which was great. Lisa did the best she could for what she can do. But I stood up and I announced on GB News and BBC and Sky News and the Argus that they can't put anyone in that site. If you're here last time and you heard this, sorry to repeat, but there's more people here today, so I want to make sure it sinks in. I stood up and I said to all those TV people and to all the people that Lisa brought there, not for a demonstration or protest, it's just gathering of meeting, you know, like-minded people coming here just to talk and discuss. Someone wants to say something, fair enough. But I announced there to the government and to Enver Solomon, who is the chief executive of the Refugee Asylum Council, You cannot bring anybody into this prison because of the asbestos that I know is in here. People have turned around and said, well, you don't know that. Yes, I do know that. Because when I was a young man driving a plant hire truck in this town, when I first started out, I used to go in that prison with concrete mixers, ladders, all the building trade stuff. Had to go in. The contractors that were in there used to talk to me and they said, this place is full of asbestos. So I knew from the 70s what that place was all about. I now investigated it further. It's all online. You can see YouTube videos yourself. There's people gone in there and they do like an audit on YouTube where they go into these places, old schools, derelict prisons, hospitals, and they go around just to show people an audit of the place, what it's about. That's when I really got serious with this with Lisa, because I saw in that boiler house room down there 4... Yeah, okay, thank you. I saw the 4 boilers in there and they are lagged with asbestos. I've seen it for myself. All the pipes coming out of it are the same. The chimney that goes up 60 foot high has been puffing away there prior to all of this happening for many years. So it's probably already caused, and I don't want to alarm anybody, but it's probably already caused a whole host of problems for health. But by putting these people down there, it put aside, as I said last time here, put aside that they're asylum seekers and you don't want this and, you know, we don't want our lives upset. Would you put someone in that place to live there, or would you live there yourself?
No.
Even if it was brand new built, would you go there? And why have I got estate agents talking to people that I'm working with, saying that at least 5 property deals over the last couple of weeks that were done and people agreed to buy, wanted to move in here, retirement. How come all those 5 deals that were buying, people were buying from away from here, how come all those 5 deals have fallen out of bed?
Because they don't want to come here.
Thank you, madam. Thank you. They don't, and they won't come. And
an area where they are there, moving down here,
thank you.
to be secure.
Thank you.
And now that's it. And I'm an estate agent, so
Thank
I
you.
know.
Pleased to meet you. What's your name? Mel Bryan. So,
And I know how it suffers.
so
Every day I'm having an elderly person coming to me, literally in tears.
if you can't hear this lady, Mel, she's an estate agent. Every day she's got elderly people going into her office crying because they can't get their properties sold and people are falling out of bed on them.
It's not even people selling, they're not even people selling, they're just coming into
Well, just people not even selling. People are worried. They're worried, and guess why? And I mean, I don't want to. I know you understand it all, and you know the point. But I just want to put it across. You've all worked hard. We all have. If you bought your house down here and you want retirement, like I've had to come out of retirement to come and sort this out. So thank you. So what it basically means is, if your house is worth X, Y, Z, and now all of a sudden you probably wouldn't be able to sell it even if you wanted to, that means you've lost money on your property. Are they gonna compensate you? No, they're not. I've got to ask a question. Have we got anyone here from the Town Council, Rother or East Sussex here tonight? And if not, why not?
They work for us. They work for us.
Yep, you're dead right, madam. What's your name? Linda, thank you. They do, they work for us. And you vote people in, and they say, oh, they come around with all these glossy pamphlets. One just came through 2 days ago. The Conservatives next month elections. Oh, we're going to boost tourism. We're going to boost the local. Well, hang on a minute. Before you go any further, how are you going to do that?
You didn't put 1,200 in one go.
Yeah. How are you going to boost the economy? And hang on, sir, just one moment. If you'd be so kind. How are you going to boost the economy and bring tourism here if you've got all these people that you don't know who they are coming through this town, seafront with ladies down there sunbathing, whatever? You know where this is going, okay? And what I'm prepared to do, one moment if you could, what I'm prepared to do, if you want me to, if you've got someone else that wants to do it, fair enough, I'll go. But what I want to try and do is get as many people signing this petition against this as we possibly can. Have we got paperwork here for this tonight? No, not today, but at the next meeting we will have. Yeah, you can hold that. There you go. This is Lisa again on the site. This is what we need everybody to sign. If you can make contact with Lisa. I'm sorry to put this on your shoulders, but I need to. If you can all get in touch with Lisa here before you go tonight and arrange to get this paperwork signed for this petition, not a demonstration, nothing like that, just as a declaration that the people of this town don't want this to happen. Lisa is in charge of that. Sign this. And then also, somebody said to a friend of Lisa's the other day, well, Brian's down there, he's talking, he's got 400 or 500 people. What's he going to do if he gets 10,000? What I say to you, sign this, get 80 to 100,000 signatures behind me, and I'll take this on. I won't let you down. I'll take it on. If I've got 80 to, and there's that many people in this area, and you're not just talking about Bexhill, I'm talking about Bexhill, Battle, Cattsfield, Hastings even maybe. I'm talking about Settlescombe. It doesn't matter where you are in this country, even if you live out in sticks somewhere, this, what's happening here to these people here, is coming to a town and a village right by near you. And if we don't stand up to this, it's going to be awful. One other thing I'd say, when I used to go down there at that prison, and then when it burnt down, they took all the asbestos sheets off there, and it's right what Barry said this evening. He's right in everything he said. He rents it out because he wants to get it in the groove and he wants to make sure he's got it right. And I appreciate him for that. He's a good man, right? But what it is, when that prison burnt down and they closed the prison down for a period while they sorted it all out, took the sheets off the roof, put new ones on, that asbestos dust has been admitted in that paperwork that it's still laying on the ground today. They've also admitted that the heating system's got asbestos in it. You cannot go down there with that building and start putting people in there 4 or 5 months down the line without major works. And now Lisa's told me again tonight there's been 77 boreholes drilled. We don't know when that was, but when they're drilling down, what's that disturb? Have they told the people on that estate down there, oh, by the way, Mr. and Mrs. and your kids, we're going to be drilling down here, keep your kids indoors. No, kids are playing out in the car park down there. That place is... Yes, and the asbestos! Okay, don't worry about it. We'll see you in a minute. So, at the end of the day, when the prison reopened again, it went down to 500 to 250 inmates, because that's what that property could take. But here we are, these years later, they want to put 1,200. So, Lisa, where is she? Lisa with your board. If everybody could just touch base with Lisa and touch base with her about signing this petition, and if you could get as many people to come here next time, Barry, as you possibly can, in order so that I can get people to, if they want to get behind me, and I'll do what you want. If you've got someone else, then fair enough, I won't do it.
This has got a QR code.
Right, Lisa, that's okay. This has got a barcode on it. Can you just, Lisa, tell you about this barcode and how you go about, can you do this?
Where's the other gentleman? There you go.
Right, here he is. Tell us about this barcode. What's your name? Paul. It's Paul.
Hi, it's Paul Morris. You've probably seen some of the designs and that I've been doing for Northeye and the area to stop this monstrosity happening. This is a QR code. If you don't know how to use a QR code, come and see me afterwards. Or, we can sort it out anyway. I can fill it out for you and do it all on a computer. We've got about 800, 900 people signed it already. We need a lot more. We need to get it up to 30, 40,000 at least. And then we can make change. We do need to make change. You know, these people behind us in that town hall need to be accountable. They work for us and they got to remember it. I'm going to pass you to, do you want to say a few words?
Thank you very much. Yes, you can, madam. If you'd like to come up. Yeah. It's Bridget. You know me.
Yes, I do. Hello, everyone. Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Okay, so I'm a resident at Northeye. I did an interview with BBC News last week before Easter. I've also done one today with GB News live. So I'm going to cut to the chase here. We need to push harder, please, Bexhill. Number one, can you hear me? Yes. Yeah. Go for it. Number one, this isn't news to me. It's not news to Northeye, because a year ago, one of the UAE employees came to me and said, this will become a migrant site. 1,200 men will be coming, and listen carefully, from Luton, who got up to no good. They were ousted out of Luton, and they will be coming to the site. So I asked him, what shall I do now? He said to me, I'm going back to my home country. And this is the truth. You can verify this with any resident on the Northeye estate.
Well done.
And I said, what shall I do with this information? He said, go and tell the residents, because I care about you and I know it will be a massive problem. Well, I left everything, ran round the estate, told everyone. Now, we then started doing, or not we, some people on the estate, the residents, started digging. And in a nutshell, it was rubbished off as a rumour. And on Maundy Thursday, 2 weeks ago, we met with you, Merriman, and I mentioned this to him. And he said, oh, I'll look into it, this Luton situation. But yes, so like I said, a year ago, this was rubbish off as a rumour, and look where we are today. Number 2, asbestos people have already been down there today. It was highlighted to me by the GB interviewer, because he's been down there all day. Number 3, last Thursday, now we had a really good relationship with these UAE people. I've been living there for the last 18 years, and I saw an ex-UAE employee going down there, and I pursued him. So I said, oh, how are you, so-and-so? I called him by name, and I said, what brings you back here? He said, oh, and I said, oh, you've got keys, don't you? So he said, I'm coming to put on some gates. I'm coming to erect gates. So things are happening down there already. We had a meeting with Hugh Merriman. As I said 2 weeks ago. Unfortunately, we haven't had the minutes of that particular meeting. So I cannot give you any information that came from there. Well, I can, but I want to give you accurate information. But I can tell you what really hit home on Saturday when I was leafleting. I was one of the elves. So I'm putting on big boots here. I went round giving leaflets, and there was this very, very elderly man in his late 90s. And he said to me, I asked, do you know anything about it? And he said, I've heard, but what can I do? So he said, I'm very old, and I mean, he was shaking like a leaf. He couldn't even pick up his 4 pints of milk that he had down on the floor. And he said to me, I live here with my wife. And I said, do you have family that can come down? He said, no, we don't have any family. And that really put things into perspective for me. And I said, I will fight your corner for you. I said, I promise you that. And
Come on, girls, have a go, huh?
And
Put the mic closer to you.
anyway, so I said to him, look, what really petrified me was when he said, oh, go and talk to my wife indoors. She's indoors, go and talk. And I thought to myself, he is so trusting. What if anybody poses as a whatever friend, go in, poses as that, and he lets them in? I fear the worst. He wasn't much taller than me. So, also, when I was giving out the leaflets, you can't but help, in Bexhill, how many vacant homes there are. Possibly people are in hospital and their homes are vacant, or they are in care homes, they've passed. Those are all things that we need to consider. So I'm asking everybody, if Northeye residents need more pushing, please come and stand behind us and push us. Thank you.
Well done, come on. Right, just hang on. Right, brilliant, thank you. So, just to reiterate, we need people to sign this board, this petition here, against this, in your thousands. What we need to do, if you're able to, and you want to, and consider me to try and help you, if I can, to give, what it does, it just gives me a voice. And I'm not speaking with anger, but firmness here. I've now got another Lisa that's come here tonight to talk with me. She's from Eastbourne, she does security. We are from Bexhill, works in Eastbourne as security, and in the nightclubs, bars, and other places where asylum seekers have been frequenting. There's been
sexual assaults on girls, young girls.
Sexual assaults. Thank you, madam. Come up here, please. You know about this?
I'm a sexual health nurse. I know this is a big increase.
You haven't got to be frightened. Come.
No, it's all right.
Sexual health nurse, and Lisa's a security from Bexhill but works in Eastbourne, and it's happening over there now. And now I've got somebody that works in that area within the NHS, and I'm being told now by this lady here, I need you to get behind this lady, and that lady, and that lady, and that lady, and that man, and everybody here. We're going to have to, we might fail here, but we've got to give it a good go. The other thing was, as our lady here, our friend told us, that lives on the estate for 18 years, she knew about this beginning of last year. So I know for a fact, because my office has done our homework, and we know that last July a company was set up, Butwell Holdings LLP Bexhill, was set up and registered as a company from Fareham, and we know for a fact that the deal that they set that up for was to purposely buy that prison on the 10th, 11th and 12th of August, and then all of a sudden March, which was about 6 or 7 months later, the government didn't just go in one morning on the 30th of March, say, oh, I know what we'll do, we'll open up Northeye and put the asylum seekers there, we'll put 1,200 there. No, this happened long before that, and a deal's already been done. That's the problem here. Yes, madam.
What else can we do apart from sign a petition and you've got a voice to what happens then you can do? Is there anything else?
Right, this lady's, what's your name? Linda just asked me. We can all get to sign this. I mean, there's a few hundred here tonight. We can all get to sign this, and we can all, if you want to, get behind me. Lisa will give you my name, and she'll set up something to support me. If you get 60, 80, 100,000 people right around this area, right? Then you say to me, what do we do then? Well, all of a sudden, you've got all those people behind me. You've got that petition signed. What that means is I've then got a voice to go and ask these people what they're doing about it and what we can do to solve this. Not only that, up in Essex, they've been in court today, as Barry's told us, which is true. The court case today for an injunction on the RAF base up there has been, thank you, madam, has been adjourned until Friday. And that is the council up there. Why aren't they here? Why aren't they putting the same case up?
That's what I mean. So it's great. You're a voice. We get enough signatures, but also the council have meetings, don't they? Cannot everybody? Cannot every? Okay. Hi.
Keep it close.
Okay. Right. What I'm saying is, it'd be fantastic if we can all sign the petition, and you get 100,000 names, 80,000 names.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's all do that, and then you've got a voice, and you can get behind it. But surely there's something else we can do. These councillors work for us.
Yes.
We pay their wages.
Yes.
All taxpayers are paying the central government and so they should be working for us. So therefore, surely we should be able to enter their meetings, go to their meetings.
So this is the method to use to do it. This is ukcitizen.org.
Right, so what I'm thinking is, if we go to one of these council meetings, surely we've all got a voice and we've all got a right to state what we believe and say, actually, councillors, you work for us, you need to fight for us, you need to put our points across. We don't want these, it sounds like they're criminals if they're coming from Luton and they're already caused problems. Well, they're not the best Okay, I've got to be careful. But we all know what I'm trying to say, don't we?
Well, you've heard it here.
We've heard it. So, surely to goodness, apart from signing a petition, having you, this fantastic, but surely we can take some control and responsibility and get to the council meeting and say, hang on a minute, we don't want this.
Right.
Sorry.
So,
Put your hands together for this lady, please. Yeah, hang on, sir. We're queuing up. What we also want to do, right, is what you said. Once we get a decent amount of people, not being unkind or hostile, then I can go up and say, well, Hugh Merriman, you've not opposed this. You've not done anything for the people that have put you there. I would be asking you, with 80 to 100,000 people behind me, I would ask you, and I'll serve paper, for you to resign. How about that?
Absolutely.
How about that? Right, I've got a gentleman here. What's your name, sir? Steve wants to say a few words on what we do.
right, just to back up what Linda was saying, there is a website you can go to that actually, there's a website you can go to that actually documents how to engage with the local council, how to attend the meetings, how to facilitate it, and it's ukcitizen.org.
Thank you very much. ukcitizens.org. Come on, please. Yeah. Okay, here we go. What's your name, son? Graham. Graham works in a local charity shop, and he's very, very worried about this. And he's got people coming into his charity shop.
And these people said, this person will not come to the shop.
They won't go to his shop. They won't go to his charity shop. And that's before it's all started. No, okay. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You got it in one. You got it, madam.
Hi there. I'm Tessa and I live in Little Common. There's obviously been a lot of very good work done in the last couple of weeks, and I've just got a couple of questions about that. I'm wondering whether now this has got so big that instead of people working individually on all the things they're doing, whether we need to come together now as one group which is focused on this point. The second thing I was going to say is it's clearly very evident from people here that there's an awful lot of expertise and specialist knowledge and people who can do things. When there's a group like this, we need some experts. Maybe there are people here, maybe we've got an environmentalist here, maybe we've got people who've worked with the planning department before, maybe we've got, which really seems necessary, people who have got experience with media. Someone who can make a website where information is readily available. Somebody who can... Okay, great. That's what I'm saying. There's a lot of experience which I'm sure we could draw on, and if we could come together as one group, that might be much more effective, and it might be the way that the action can be targeted, and rather than things being repeated, they can be targeted, and we can use collectively our knowledge and experience, of which I'm sure we've got a lot.
Can I? Brian?
Yeah, what's your name?
Brian.
Brian. There's another Brian here. You're not gonna trash my credibility here tonight, are you? No. Thank you.
I was going to say, share my YouTube channel after what you just said. Yeah, I do. Well, what I'd like to say is... Sorry? What I'd like to say is that we're not living in Russia, we're not living in China, this is England. It's a democratic society. We are being bullied. We spend millions of pounds. Supporting Ukraine because they're being bullied by Russia. This is happening here. We are being bullied by this government. It is not a democratic society. Sorry.
Speak up.
I can't eat it. Anyway, I'd like to say thank you all for coming. It's well appreciated. We need thousands more to join us. Yeah. Because this will, I know because I used to go to Cali a lot. These people stand on street corners all day just intimidating people. The litter is absolutely terrible. Anyway, I feel very sorry for a lot of widows in this area walking around on their own at night, who might be going to meetings or whatever. This will not happen, you know. So, as I say, we're a democratic society. We voted in Hugh Merriman as a democratic man. Sorry, and he's not treating us that way. He's only interested in his own well-being and his career. That's all it's about. It's not about us. It's about him. Yeah. Okay.
Give Brian a round of applause, please. Give him a bit of support. Well done, mate. You've done it. You've done well.
As I say, we've spent billions, if not millions of billions, supporting Ukraine because they're being bullied. That's what's happening here.
And that's what's coming.
We're paying for the Ukraine by our taxpayers.
That's what's coming down the line. Regarding media that you mentioned, we've got a guy here that's been covering this over the last 3 or 4 weeks. His name's Russ Green. He runs a YouTube channel called Absolutely Average. Absolutely Average. If you go on there, you'll see all his updates, all his spills and bills. That's him there, good-looking fella with a beard and a hat. Thank you. And it's already been up there, and it's got probably 700 or 800 views already. So we're in the right direction. If there were managed to get more people, we can always move it to another place that's got a bigger open space. But we, yeah, what the Della want? Yeah, but
Can I ask for the people that have got a separate media sites?
Wait till they spend their 19 million first, though.
yeah, and all the people that've got media sites, if they can get onto this Absolutely Average site of his, this Russ. Contact this man. He's a media mogul. He's a media man. He's up in the spotlight with it all. He's not frightened. He's not frightened of saying anything, and he's working with me on this, and he's doing a good job. So he's absolutely average. Go on. And Nigel Jacqueline's helping him as well. Nigel, wherever you are. So
if they cut the police, get him over here, who's going to protect us?
Lisa, just ask me. Come up in here. So if what they're saying now is if they cut the police down, what's going to happen? Well, I wasn't even going to get into this tonight, but last week it was announced that Sussex Police had failed to record and report 20,000 crimes over the last year. Okay? 20,000 crimes not got reported. And they were harassment, abuse, rape, sexual abuse, all kinds of things that never got reported. So they are now have been classed as inadequate. If they can't run, no disrespect to them, I'm not having a pop at them at all, but if they can't clean that sort of thing up, how on earth are they going to be able to manage 1,200 18 to 30-year-old men? And what's going in Essex up at that RAF camp is 1,700. And guess what? 18 to 30-year-old men. And they've left their countries, and I know people have said to me, but Brian, hang on, they've come from war-torn, they've been beaten. But if I lived there, would I leave that country and leave my wife and family and my children there to fend on their own while I run away and try and seek asylum? No! Will you come and tell me, Adam? This lady's writing to the Earl Delaware. I'll speak because they'll hear me. William Buckhurst Place. He's now an Earl.
A huge family. He still owns land and rights all over this town.
Yeah,
they do. Let's get his support.
Yeah.
He can't like
You've written to him. What's your name, lovey?
My name's Jennifer.
Jennifer's written to the Earl of Delaware, and she's going to write to him again and say to him, we need your help and assistance in this matter because it's running. It's got to be running out of. It's running out of hand. And this, if I can say, you do know how serious this is. I'm not trying to worry anybody any further than they are, but people are scared about this. And what it is, this whole thing has been bullied upon us, like our friend over here said. It's been bullied on us. The whole thing is running live. It's running fluid and liquid, and it's fast moving. So we're going to get this petition signed with Lisa there. Get your names, tell Lisa to run it all. You get my name on there somewhere, and then I will come up and I'll try and help you if I can. And we'll give it the best shot we can. Next Wednesday, time?
7 o'clock.
7 o'clock at the Bexhill College up at Pendland Road. There's a council meeting there. you are all invited. I will be there, and hopefully I'll see many of you there. And finally, can I just say, and I mean this sincerely to you, okay? I've been around here for a long time, 54 years working around here. All right, I've got a lot of people on my side, friends. If there are anybody over those years that I have offended or upset, let's put that beside us now. I apologise if I've upset anybody at all on my way through, but at the end of the day, I'm here for this, and I'm up for it, legally and lawfully, without hostility, no hostility, okay? One. Right. Can I just let our friend say a few words here?
Hi, my name's Andrew Crossy. I'm standing as a candidate in Central Ward. I've been watching Ross's YouTube thing, and I must admit, most of the town councillors are not here today because they're at Petition having another town council meeting for the last one.
That's correct.
Basically, I'm against it. I lived in Little Common. My dad still lives in Little Common. But I don't appreciate, there's businesses in Bexhill that are Albanian run that have actually been getting a lot of abuse as well, which is not fair for them. They're just doing a living. But I'm against it. I'm standing here for it now to tell you now that I'm standing as a councillor for Bexhill Town Council as well as Rother, and I'm an independent, so basically I have autism, and a lot of people don't like that because I don't see the grey. I'm black or white. That's it.
Good.
So it doesn't sound right that Hugh Merriman, where Connor Winter got people come to him last May, and also some other councillors went and saw Hugh in May last year to say to him what's going on. Now, Hugh Merriman is a barrister. Now, he could have done something about it then, but I think because of the HS2, that he's having to be kept quiet because he won't get his little project through. So obviously you've got question time coming up on the 11th of May in Bexhill. Hugh Merriman's going to be there, but it's obviously a BBC question time, so if they probably would have done this before. They probably brought the Delaware for the day, so no one's going to go in there without being pre-examined and pre-booked anyway. And also, they will check you over. They screen you, because I was on a BBC programme once before to argue a case about the new toilets on the train to my daughter, and what happened was I had one question to ask, and the bloke who was the transport minister at the time had the answer and basically said that's the old trains, even though it was the new trains, but I couldn't answer the second question because they cut my mic. Thank you.
Put your hands together for him. Right, so I think we're going to be wrapping up now, probably. Yeah? If there's anything else.
I think Caroline wants a few words.
Caroline? No? Yes, you got it right, sir. You got it right.
What about the feel for will people put their hands in their pockets?
Well, I think
We'll mention that on the next one.
Okay.
Because
I'll talk to you in a moment if you don't mind. We've got another young lady here that's got the Route 66 diner down on the custom cab down on Marsh Road. So in the future we can have meetings there. We've got an open invitation. So as for this evening's proceedings, does anyone else want to say anything else? Please, madam, come forward. Yeah, the court case, as far as I'm aware, that went to court today over the Braintree in Essex site. It went before the court with the council up there. They've got barristers and lawyers, and they'd listened to a whole day's worth of proceedings in the court, but then at the end of it, the judge has adjourned it until Friday when a decision will be made. So you've got to wait till Friday, basically. Yeah. Wait till Friday. I'll hand you back to Barry. Thanks for coming, and God bless everybody. Thank you.
Can I just thank Brian for his enthusiasm? I hope you got some of it. This was a meeting for information rather than anything else, but it might well give us a way forward. It's encouraging to see so many people here. Thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you again
Wednesday.
Next Wednesday.
Bexhill College.
Next 7:30.
7 o'clock, I think.
7 o'clock.
Next Wednesday,
7 o'clock.
Bexhill College, Penland Road, 7 o'clock.
That's it. You've done it.
Thank you, everybody.
Once again, thank you for coming, everyone. God bless you. Thank you.